This podcast is brought to you by San Diego County Toyota Dealers. We've got what it takes. The latest Mexican food. Fix Auto. And Corky's Pest Control. Welcome to the San Diego Prep Insider Basketball Podcast. Tommy, Aaron, and Christian here from the Hall of Champions, where we're earlier for National Signing Day.
We're actually applying to be an exhibit here.
Yeah.
Just the three of us, because we are champions.
Yeah, replace this Chargers exhibit that's behind us. Yeah, exactly. We got a usual podcast for you today. We got the top 10s, the game balls, the dunker dish, and our game picks, and a little bit of Sarah mixed in between all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it'll be good. So, Aaron, I will let you start with your top 10.
All right, top 10. Of course, we got a new number one in town, St. Augustine. They move into the number one spot after Foothills Christian dropped 2 games this week. An upset at Orange Glen, and then they lost to Taft on the road on Saturday. So number 2, we've got Torrey Pines. Number 3, we've got Foothills sliding in at that 3 spot. Mission Hills is 4. Vistas are 5. At 6, we've got La Jolla Country Day. They actually picked up a nice win last night against Orange Glen. 7, we've got Mater Dei Catholic facing Little Resistance down in the South Bay. 8, we've got Helix kind of hitting a little bit of a wall until some teams lose. 9, we've got Orange Glen moving into the top 10. You got to give them credit for that win. And number 10, we've got Poway also moving into the top 10. So that's my picks, you guys, for the week.
So for the SDPI staff, we have actually for the first time all year we have the exact same 10 teams, just in different order, moving backwards. Back in our top 10, La Jolla Country Day. Congratulations, Tories. Number 9, Poway. 8, Mater Dei. 7, Orange Glen after their big win and then subsequent loss. 6, Vista. 5, Helix. 4, Mission Hills. 3, Foothills Christian. 2, Torrey Pines. And number 1, still, Saints. And before we get to our game balls, we got to hear from Sarah, figure out who her top 10 is and what her game balls are. So, Sarah, it's all yours.
Thank you so much, guys. I'm going to dive right into it and get started with this week's top 10 ladies hoops teams. And at number 10, you'll see we have West Hills. Number 9, Rancho Bernardo. 8, Santa Fe Christian. And just a little side note with them, Emmett Dudley is doing really good things for them. She's averaging 17.9 points and 9.8 rebounds per game. And at number 7, we have Poway. 6, Scripps Ranch. 5, La Jolla Country Day. 4, Eastlake. 3, La Costa Canyon. 2, still Mission Hills. And number 1, still Bishops. That is this week's top 10. And since we can't mention everyone in the top 10, it's still important to recognize great athletes killing it out there. That's why we have our game ball. So first game ball this week goes to Satara Bates from Mount Miguel. She scored 34 points in a win over Steel Canyon and 29 in a win over Helix. Those are big numbers, and big numbers deserve recognition. So congratulations to her. Second game ball goes to Maya Robinson from Eastlake. She led the Titans to an 81 to 38 victory over Bonita Vista, and she had 24 points alone. She also scored 22 points in a win over Otay Ranch, and Eastlake moved to 6-0 in league play. So big congratulations to them. That does it for Ladies Hoops this week. I'll see you guys next week.
All right, back to the boys basketball now. We got to get the game balls for us for the week. Christian, who are your game balls?
Got a whole rack of them, so I'm going to kind of shoot them off really quickly. Damian Miller from Orange Glen for a big upset there. You can sort of give it to the whole team, but he had a great defensive game against someone that's darn near impossible to stop in Jalen Hands. Keep it going. Graham Cook from LCC for their big win over Canyon Crest. LCC, CCA, a lot of C's and different. Joseph Davis for chucking in just a beautiful slice of something from, what you said, 65 feet? Something like that to win for Kearney. And then throw one just in general to, I want to give one to Hilltop for beating Castle Park. It's a rivalry game, and that was something that we talked about last time, was how we want these rivalries to really matter. And, they went out there, got the dub. So those will be my game balls.
Nice. All right, guys, I'm going to start my game balls down in the South Bay as well to Avon Villagracia. of Sweetwater had a really big game in a very close contest against Chula Vista. I had a little bit of some tweets on that, and then a live broadcast at the very end. Chula Vista missing the point blank layup with 1 second that would have sent it to overtime. My next one, I'm going to give a game ball to Alex Buffini of Maranatha Christian. Philip Willis was the leading scorer for them last night, but Alex Buffini was just all over the place. His defense, his motor, his energy was key in their 69-55 road win over Tri-City Christian. I mean, that was a raucous crowd, a lot of energy. It was Tri-City Seniors night, and Philip Willis and Alex Buffini went out and spoiled that for the team. So we got to give them a lot of credit there. And you know what? I'm going to stop there. I'm only going to give out 2 game balls this week.
Ooh, only 2.
Yeah.
It's hard to impress Aaron.
Yeah, just it.
Tough to impress Aaron. All right. So we go from the game balls to our dunk or dish, the debate segment. Everyone loves this one. First, dunk or dish. Starting with you, Aaron. Orange Glen is the best non-Division I team in San Diego.
Man, this is a loaded question. I'm gonna dish this one. Obviously they're the highest rated in mine right now. They're actually the second highest rated non-Division I team, because you got Helix is ahead of them in both of our rankings. Miles Norris kind of coming back in is right at the ship for them. Orange Glen, obviously, you want to give them a ton of credit for the upset over Foothills Christian, and I know they're tired of people calling it an upset. I mean, they feel that they're on an even playing field with any team that they face. Michael and Devin Diaz, Trevor Owens, these guys have been here. I mean, these guys are playing at that level, but. Of course, like we talked about Helix. And then another team I think that needs some recognition is Rancho Bernardo, who sits right outside of our top 10, but also beat Orange Glen and beat them soundly in January. And they're actually going to have a really big addition to their team with Knox Winkler returning from a season-long ankle injury. And he comes back this Friday. And he's one of the top juniors in San Diego. So you add him to the mix to a team that's already beaten Orange Glen, that might be the number 1 seed in Division I, when it's all said and done. I don't think there's enough evidence to really just say that they're the best, that Orange Glen is the best non-Division I team.
Christian, go for it.
I hate following you. You always say so much. You say it so eloquently. I do not like these best, most, best.
That's why
that's why you love. But yeah, if we have to stand up here and make the hard calls to say yes or no, I got to dish it. They've lost.
Yeah.
And Helix hasn't. Helix has had a couple really close games. Steel Canyon played them really close. West Hills played them really close. So you can say that there's maybe just that 1 or 2 buckets separating them from Orange Glen, where if a couple things go a couple different ways, they each have more losses. Excuse me. But right now, Helix, Helix has the track record, and Orange Glen doesn't. And so
about close, of course.
Only counts in
horseshoes and hand grenades.
Okay, yeah. I was gonna say also bombs, but but. You got to give it to someone like Helix. You just simply for the fact of looking at that win-loss, you got to dish this one.
Yeah.
All right, our second one. And this is going to be, I think, a little bit of a lot of people are going to be complaining about this, I think. So Hoover had to forfeit all their games. But the only problem with that is the teams that beat them, this is Hoover now drops from Tier 3 to Tier 4, lose 2 points, 2 power ranking points. So dunk or dish, those teams that lost those points should get those points back.
I'm slam dunking this one because I really think the CIF dropped the ball on this one. When you go and you play a team, you're playing the team that's on the floor. So you're beating that team when they have that ineligible player playing. You should not then be penalized by losing those 2 points because said player shouldn't be there. A little bit of a backstory. Obviously, you guys probably know about this now. Hoover had played a player who was not cleared by CIF the entire season. He was one of their better players, and so obviously when the dime got dropped, I'm not going to tell the whole story, but CIF came down pretty hard. They're 0-21 now, and they're ineligible for the playoffs. But before they were 0-21, they were 8-13 and had just beaten Sarah. It's not a bad team by any stretch of the imagination. So if you're one of those 13 teams that beat them, You should be given the points for the team that you played, not for the team that has that is catching the penalty. If you play them afterwards, of course they're going to be a different team without that player. But right now, you've played them. Give them those points. Don't take them away. And the other part of it is, the other half is, if you've lost to them, now all of a sudden your win is more valuable than the team that beat them before, or of equal value. And that just makes no sense. Up is up and down is down. And let's get it right,
Absolutely. I will dunk this one also. This is, to me, an indictment of the system itself. And we talked about this a lot throughout football, was the continuous updating of the strength of schedule of, when you play someone in a certain point of the season, do you get the points for them there at that moment and then it's fixed? Or is that value of that game fluid and able to change and whatnot? You just can't discredit a team for saying, hey, great, congratulations, you had a hard-fought win earlier this year, that you're now screwed because of technicalities of players. And games need to be locked in when they are played as to how much they're worth. And you can disagree, you can agree, and that's the beauty of it. But I think that this shows that the system...
First game of the year.
The system is too...
I get first game of the year.
Second game of the year, third game of the year.
Tommy, I see what you're saying.
But the fluid has too many ripples. It just has. There's too much variable. Too many people are going to be affected in a sport like basketball, where you've got so many games. I think you can afford a wonky first 2 or 3 point values, and then from there on, it'll level itself out. I'm probably wrong, given my track record in most things on this podcast, but to me, this is an indictment not just of this situation, but of the whole system.
I would just say, let them finish out the season, whatever the record is, then put them in that tier.
I disagree.
Count them as I'm saying count them out. Count them as win whatever, but whatever they end up being, that's what they are. And then so that way, if they end up losing the rest of the games, they're tier 4 anyway. Then tier 4. But I get what you're saying. That the best player isn't allowed to play anymore. It does kind of change things. Anyway, moving on to our predictions. We got 5 games, all from Friday today, so it's going to be a party on Friday night. First one, this is right off the bat, tricky one. Mission Hill's going to Vista. Aaron.
Man, this is, what we actually did not. We did not actually predict the first matchup between the two of them. That was one game that we didn't do, and I was very glad that we didn't do it, because I didn't know who was going to win until I sat down and I at Mission Hills, and I felt like, okay, Mission Hills will get it done. It's on their home floor. They did, and credit to Vista for making that one close, but the score probably wasn't really as indicative as, as dominant as Mission Hills was that night. With that said, I actually think that Vista gets this one done this week. I do. I think that playing in front of a home crowd that will be sold out, that's one. It's a Friday game, meaning all the kids are going to be there. 2, I think that the loss to Mission Hills earlier in league has kind of enlivened that entire group. And I think that they've been playing some of their best basketball, ever since that. I mean, what they did to San Marcos last week was, pretty incredible. It was they were down 10, and next thing you know, they won by 30. And that was all in one half. I think that this is going to be, again, a game that's played between 1 and 2 possessions the entire time. But I think that Isaiah Morris, Torrey Samuels, and crew, I think they get it done. So I'm gonna give the game ball to Vista. I wouldn't have given it to them the first time.
I forgot to give my pick. I'm going to give it to Vista as well, just because they're home. I think these are 2 very evenly matched teams, but I think Vista's going to pull this one out. Christian?
I'm going Mission Hills. I'm waiting until they prove me wrong. They're a track record. They're a team that win with this new group, and until Ed Fenzi is stopped, I'm going to go with Mission Hills.
And not to mention the big fella.
Oh, yeah, this other guy that they got, Warren Washington or something like that.
It's pretty good. Pretty good basketball player. Next game for Friday, Patrick Henry going to Scripps Ranch. I am going to go with Patrick Henry. I know they've been inconsistent this year, but I feel like Patriots have this one. Aaron, your thoughts?
Whew, another really. No, I don't. You know what? Take it. You know what? I'm gonna give Scripps Ranch a little bit of credit. I mean, they've been proving us wrong all year. I mean, they've also been a little serendipitous in terms of like when they've gotten teams. Beat La Jolla, a game where Reed Farley tears his ACL. Again, our regards go out to Reed. Loss for the season. That's a big loss just to San Diego basketball in general. But Patrick Henry is a team that I said all along was going to win league. And here's their opportunity to go into Scripps Ranch and get the job done. I think they do. I'm picking Patrick Henry. I think this game will be close from the onset. I think Batre Kayunju is going to have a big game, but I think Christian Choice, Jelani Mitchell, and company, I think they're going to finally get that signature road win in league play, and they're going to start that march to their league title. And if they don't, I'm not going to be happy.
Scripps Ranch.
Yeah, but I say every time with the leader. Going to the Coastal League, we've got Bishops traveling to Francis Parker. I will take the Knights in this one. I think these are two very evenly matched teams. Should be a fun one to watch. Aaron, you with me or against me?
I'm against you. I'm going to take Parker.
Right.
I'm going to take Parker. Parker just beat Army Navy last night at their place. I mean, Richard Polanco had like 30,000 points, but they still were somehow able to pull out that win. They're a different team at home. This is a team that played La Jolla Country Day to within 10 to 12 points at their place, beats Army Navy. Bishops has a talented young core. We haven't talked a lot about their young players. They've got a 6'7" freshman by the name of Nikyle Cross, who, as an 8th grader, set one of the All-American camps records for like vertical leap and standing reach. I mean, it's just he's a freak athlete. And they've got a sophomore by the name of Christian Rose, who's also a very good basketball player. He plays his AAU for Game Point, played on the same team that Jordan Hillstock did during the AAU season. They've got a very young core. But they're playing against a Francis Parker team that has a senior transfer by the name of Alec White, who really changed the whole tenor of their season. They were dead in the water during the month of December, and he's probably the most underrated 30-day sit-out in San Diego. You know, they've been a different team with the 6'6", 200-pound, offensive lineman-looking basketball player in the lineup. So I'm going to pick Francis Parker, and I don't think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be played 10 to 12. I think they get a big one.
Wow. I will go with Bishops. I think that we've seen, like you said, in two sides of the coin with Francis Parker, and there's just enough leeway there that I like Bishops. I think that this is a great opportunity for small school, little more private feel for them to not have any sort of intimidation factor. They can go in, get a road win.
All right, our 4th out of 5 games is Point Loma going to Christian out in El Cajon. I'm going to take Christian in this one. I think this will be another one of those good games. They're all good games. That's why I pick them. But we're going to go with Christian. Yeah. All right, Christian, you go first.
I would like to address Point Loma High School and the players and fans of the Pointer Nation. I'm very sorry for having ever picked against you. You proved me wrong. Linda Welby and the band, everybody. To my grandparents that graduated in the class of 46, I apologize to you.
Is that number accurate?
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome.
I'll wear his Letterman jacket next time.
Oh,
yeah. Point Loma is the real deal. We have seen inconsistent little pockets, which led my small brain to maybe not pick them the whole time. But they're a really good team. They've got some young, they've got some old, they've got a nice balance. We saw them already get one win against Christian. I think they'll get another one.
So Christian picks Christian, and I'm kidding.
I'm gonna pick Point Loma to get a road win. They need a road win too. I mean, they're night and day. Home and away. But I think this is the game where Yassine Garam and Dakari Allen kind of grow up. Yep. I think this is their moment. And I'm looking forward to that point guard matchup between both of the point guards we mentioned for Point Loma and Nisham Carter from Christian, who's had a spectacular season in his own right, and of course Dominic Safarda, the 5'5" wonderkind for Christian, the mixtape villain. I think it's going to be a fun game, but I think Point Loma, this is where they kind of take that next step, move into that, firmly establish themselves as an upper tier team in that city league, and they get the win.
All right, our 5th and final game, North County matchup. San Marcos going to El Camino. I will take the Wildcats. Aaron?
Damn.
Wildcats or Knights?
Back up, here you go.
Oh, man. You know what? El Camino really disappointed me last week. I got on there, I said their home crowd, the home crowd advantage would get them over Oceanside. Not only did they lose, they got curb stomped. I mean, Oceanside really took it to them. With that said, I'm not quite ready to jump off of El Camino's home advantage, and I'm going to pick the Wildcats very tepidly. I will give a shout out to San Marcos. They've got a talented young group. Cody Clouette has come into his own as a junior, one of the better shooters in San Diego. And they've got a freshman, a very unique player in the name of Elijah Randall, 6'4", 200-pound point guard. So he's a bigger point guard, does a lot of things for them. But I don't think that in the environment that El Camino will present to them, I don't think they get it done, but I think it's going to be a close one, but I'm going to pick El Camino.
I will be the disagreeer. I'll go with San Marcos. If for no other reason than just picking with El Camino has seemed to have been disastrous for us this year. And it's tough because you want to look at that track record of they've done it all these years. They've got this talent. I think El Camino, maybe the Oceanside thing will be a wake-up call, but I think they're not what they have been this year.
This is your big brother's El Camino team.
It's a different year, so I'll take the opportunity here to go San Marcos.
All right, those are our game picks. That is our podcast, guys. Anything you want to say before we get out of here?
Yeah, if you guys have an opportunity to this weekend, travel out to Orange County and see if they've got some tickets left for the Nike Extravaganza. Two of our better teams in the region, St. Augustine and Foothills Christian, will be playing. Foothills Christian has a Friday night matchup against Oak Hill Academy.
Kind of good.
Yeah, kind of a factory over there. Foothills Christian and then St. Augustine has a rematch against Mater Dei. So they actually play the host of the Nike Extravaganza in the marquee game Saturday night.
Night for Saints.
Godspeed to you guys.
Christian, anything?
I'm good.
All right, that'll do it for us. Too much content for me today, I think, from National Signing Day to the podcast, everything. But thank you so much for joining us, and we will see y'all next week.
Peace.
Welcome to another San Diego Prep Insider Bot. 3, 2.